Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
I had a Wii for a little while. It was wrapped up in a box for a long time, but my parents took it with them back home to Iowa when they saw it. My mom wanted it because she knew that the Wii would give her more activity, and I think it has worked for her. Of course, this has left me in somewhat of a lurch, since now Ponzi wants me to get a Wii, so now I gotta find one. I mean, like, an Xbox 360 isn't enough for her. No, she's gotta have the Wiimote. Whoa! Wii! Do you have a Wii? Alright, fine. What do you think about the Wii? Is it good? What do you like about the Wii? What don't you like about the Wii? Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because one of our community members, who goes by the handle SWAT, for one very important reason, he is a member of SWAT, has just beaten Super Mario Galaxy. And so we are going to ask SWAT his thoughts of the game, as well as if he has any tips and tricks to share with everybody else who has a Wii and Super Mario Galaxy, or has thought about picking up Super Mario Galaxy. So SWAT, what do you think? Was it a good game?
The whole layout of the game was excellent. The graphics were actually quite well for the Wii. The game is actually pretty lengthy overall. The ending could have been a little harder. The end movie was excellent. The concept of the whole game, where you have different gravity realms and different galaxies to go to, is pretty nice.
What was the hardest part of playing Super Mario Galaxy?
There's one realm, I don't remember the name of it, but you have to turn Mario into a spring. In this game, you get to be a bee, a spring, a ghost. You get to be a bunch of different Marios, like you did in the older games, where you were like the frog or the fox, like that. But the hardest one was the bee realm, because you had to time just how far you could fly, because you would lose flying power, and so that one was probably the hardest.
How does this compare to the other Super Mario games you've played?
I would say this is probably ranking up there with probably one of the best. I liked Super Mario World 3, but this one, by far, I'd say probably outdoes that one.
And how long ago did you start playing Super Mario Galaxy?
About 2.5 weeks ago, I guess.
How many hours have you put into it every day?
Depending on what I was doing that day, most of the time I put in about an hour to 2 hours a day.
That's not bad. So if you're more of a loser and you still live with your parents, chances are you can beat the game in less than a week.
I would say a couple of days if you played, 8 hours a day straight.
Fair enough. And I'm not to say that anybody who lives with their parents still is a loser. I'm just saying that if you've got time on your hands, or you don't have a job to go to, certainly you can. I just completely alienated 75% of my audience, I'm sure.
Chris, I was going to go ahead and mention some tips for the game, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, because I don't think anything's digging me out of this hole.
You're going to get in a little trouble, huh? In the game, you better learn the concept of gravity and timing, because some of the realms you're going to have to walk on the walls, on the ceiling, and you're going to have to learn how to jump from one wall to another wall and have the timing down right. And it's going to be pretty difficult. It's not as easy as it looks, I can tell you that.
So there was a Lionel Richie Mario at the time that you were on the ceiling dancing around?
Yeah, several times. And there's lots of underwater worlds too, which the graphics in the underwater worlds were awesome.
How about camera? I mean, did you find yourself impeded when the camera couldn't keep up with your movement, or was it pretty fluid?
It was pretty fluid for the most part. The Beehive world, it was a little difficult because the walls were so close together, the camera couldn't really keep up, so you had to really kind of guess at where you were at.
And what did you think of the musical score?
The musical score was excellent. They had a classical theme throughout, and in a lot of the realms, they reused and revamped the very first old school Mario theme songs.
Oh yeah, and they did it tastefully then.
Yeah, they really did a good job on it. And some of them, you would flip a secret switch, and these little note bars would come out, and if you hit them in order, it would give you a secret room, and but each note would play an old school Mario tune.
Okay, so what else did you dig up during the course of playing Super Mario Galaxy?
The gameplay was fairly nice. The graphics were pretty good. The whole concept of, like I said before, the whole concept of the galaxy realms, where you have different worlds. There's several different galaxies that you go to. It's not just one galaxy. It's more of an entire universe, really.
Right, but give me some hardcore tips, tricks. Let's sell this game to people.
The main tips I could say is you better get your timing down right.
Yes, you said that.
And what I mean by timing is in a lot of the worlds, you have very little time to get from, let's say, from block to block, because the blocks will disappear. So you got to get your timing down. And also get as many of the little, they're called star bits. You got to get as many of those as you can, because the more of those you get, the more secret worlds you unlock. I still haven't unlocked all the secret worlds yet.
So was the ending worth it?
The ending cinema movie was excellent. Beating Bowser was not as hard as I would have liked to have been. I actually would have liked to have been a little more difficult. I beat him in one try.
Any surprises in the game?
Yeah, the new Marios, like I said, you get to be a ghost. You get to be a bee. You get to turn into a spring. You get to be Frozen Mario and walk on top of water and on top of fire. The old school Fire Mario is back, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, really? Was it also drawn in true 8-bit fashion?
No, it wasn't drawn in true 8-bit fashion, but they tried to bring back the same colors. And then they had a new one out, too. It was also a Flying Mario, where you get to fly.
But he's flown before, you're saying, just in a different capacity.
Yeah, he gets to flight, and it's not timed flight.
Now, obviously, you're coming off the high of having beaten a game, flipped it, if you will. Well, that's the way we used to call it in the old days, because you really couldn't beat old Atari games. I know Super Mario wasn't on the Atari; he was on the Nintendo. Well, still is. But really, in your lifetime of playing video games, does this one rank pretty well? Is the replayability good?
The replayability is excellent, especially if I could describe 4 age groups, probably 10 through, well, I'm 35, so 10 through 25. I think the younger kids are actually going to get a pretty good kick out of this.
And did we see any violence, any blood, guts, gore?
No violence at all. I mean, the most violent thing you're going to do is jump on a mushroom head.
I don't know about that. I know a lot of parents email me very concerned about the mushroom-related violence that we talk about in the chat room. I've actually been meaning to tone it down somewhat. I mean, honestly, fungus abuse, it's not a laughing matter. I mean, I know, Mool212, you're laughing out loud, but it is a serious thing that, I mean, that's one of the charities I'm donating to this year is the fungi international group club across the world for the benefit of humanity. Well, SWAT, thanks again for your experience sharing it with the world. Do appreciate it. I know that Ponzi's probably going to hear this and say, why don't we have a Wii? And I'll look at her. I said, why don't we have a bigger plasma TV screen on which to play the Wii? Ooh, I think I figured out a way to get a big screen TV around here. Interesting. Anyway, if you have any Super Mario Galaxy tips to pass along, or any tips in general for any of your favorite games, feel free to email me your top 5 tips. Chris@Pirillo.com is how you get a hold of me. You'll hear SWAT just about every day talking in the chat room, both in text as well as, over the speaker when we have the Ventrilo channel. It's a private channel open for everybody to hear. You can listen in like a fly on the wall. And you can also interact with us, where we're typically talking tech 24 hours a day in our chat room, which is at live.pirillo.com. Will you later?